Daddy,
What is it, boy?
Daddy, is we gonna make a demo?
Well, we're talking about it, boy.
Daddy, I wanna make a demo. I wanna be on a commercial, Daddy. I wanna be on the TV or the radio, Daddy.
Boy, settle down. It don't work quite that way. If you'll just shut up and listen, these two fellas will tell us what we need to do.
Daddy, can I be the one talking? Or you gonna talk? You gonna let me talk, Daddy?
Shut up, boy.
Okay, Daddy.
It's a long way to the top, but if you take it step by step, you'll make it. Let's climb that VO ladder with our hosts, Troy Holden and Will Vincent.
Hey, welcome back to the Voice Over Ladder. Troy Holden here with Will Vincent.
Hello.
There's Will, way out in Minnesota. Out there where it's colder and crap. I'm complaining about it being cold here, and then Will tells me what it is there. No,
it's not bad. It's like 19 today.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I think we got all the way, we were down in the teens a couple nights, but, you know, it's Tennessee. If you don't like the weather here, come back tomorrow. It'll be different. All right, so where we were last time we met, we were talking about demos. And Will hit the nail on the head. It's chicken and the egg. And boy, that's what it is, isn't it? There's a lot of disparity with it. So here we are in part two. Last time we covered demos, we talked about a commercial demo should be your focus to start with. We talked about you should update your demo as often as possible when you're starting up in this business, at least once a week.
Yeah, you should shoot for at least once a week.
Yep. And the key to that is, and this is taught by the people that know way more than I ever claim to know, is to keep the exact same material, but keep making it better. Yep. Read it better, put better effects, make it sound better. So that's your challenge. And so today we're going to get into some more of the nuts and bolts. Some of the things to help you if you're not too far along that maybe you can start putting your demo together. And the first thing is, where do I find demo material? You know, there's lots of places to look. Will, where do you go look for demo material?
Well, I mean, really, it's all around you. You know, the easiest place to go find it is YouTube or TV or the radio, or there's a website called ispot.tv that is nothing but ads. It's here's all this ad copy or all these produced ads that are running or have run for all the different brands. You can search by brand and find their ads and watch them. You know, you'd think a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to watch ads. I skip the ads, right? Well, no, not as a VO. That's what we do. We're doing the ads. We want to watch the ads. So we're going to go find them, right? We're going to go to YouTube and we're going to search for, Burger King 30 seconds or Burger King 15 seconds or Wendy's or Hardee's or Subway or, Boeing, whatever it is. You're going to go find some ads and then transcribe the copy of the actual ad.
Do you find yourself paying more attention to commercials on TV and radio? Of course, you've done other type work like that, but I have found myself, I pay more attention to it. I want to hear how somebody reads it. Did they chop it? Did they read it right? Was that a really good voiceover or not? And even now, on whether it's even a regional thing or a local thing here, let's say the Nashville station is running something that's regional or local, I hear some bad reads. I really do. I mean, for what I think, and that's what makes me think I can pick out some stuff maybe, to help people out. And that's kind of what we do on the Voice Over Ladder page. People can post your demos or your gigs and, get some good feedback. So where to find the material? He's right. It's out there everywhere. And you're not stealing. You're not pilfering. For God's sakes, don't worry about that. I promise you, McDonald's is not going to come find you because you've copied a commercial. They're just not. I've never heard of that happening, and I've heard all the big guys say it doesn't happen. So I'm going to trust in it. I've posted things all over Fiverr. My demos on there are all major brands, and nobody's got upset about that.
Well, and here's the thing. Even if they did, which they're 90% certain they're not going to, but even if they did, worst case, they're going to come and say, cease and desist. You have to remove that. At which point you remove it and you replace it with something else. It's just not a big deal.
As my mama used to say, stop it right now.
Right. Because the bottom line is you're not
hurting anybody, and you didn't change it, especially if you'll do it if you're using the same words.
Right. You're not trying to misrepresent their brand. You're not trying to profit off their brand necessarily. That's a little bit of gray area because you are trying to get work based on that. But basically all you're doing is showing, look, had I done this commercial, this is how I would have read it.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
This gives you an example of what I'm going to sound like in a finished product. So hire me and let's work on your thing.
Right. And your demo is to show what you can do. Now, there'll come a time in our careers, I hope, that my demo will show what I have done, but I'm not there yet. We're down here on the bottom rung. So we get up there closer to the top. Well, heck yeah, it's going to be real stuff. but it takes time. I'm still choking with COVID. I've been over COVID for 2 weeks, and every now and then it comes back and gets in my throat. It's driving me nuts. So the other thing that we could talk about is how to get those videos. So there's tricks to that, right?
There are. There's a bunch of tools. There's lots of tools you can use to download videos from YouTube or pretty much wherever. A lot of browser plugins for it. That's going to be the easiest solution for most people. Just go and find, a YouTube downloader, either a site or a browser plugin, or a video downloader for various, that'll work anywhere. And then use that and download the video. And then once you've got the video, you can, we'll get to that next, but you can put your read under it. And there you go. Now you've got a video version of your demo.
Right. And you've got to have something to be able, good gracious, what a day. You got to have something to be able to put all this together. There are some low cost softwares out there, probably some free ones too, that you can use. Personally, somebody recommended it to me early and I went and got it and I used it and got used to it. It was Wondershare or Filmora. And it's not all the bells and whistles, but for me, it's almost like drop and drag. And that makes it easy for me because I'm stupid when it comes to some of that stuff. I can catch on and learn it. I'm just slow at it sometimes. So that's an easy one. I'm sure you've worked with some others.
Well, the good news is most of them are going to be drag and drop for the most part. You're dragging content into the timeline and then rearranging, and it's not dissimilar, in fact, to audio editing. You've got a multi-track timeline, some of it's video, some of it's audio, and you're slicing and sliding and cutting, and it works very much the same. The only difference is there's picture instead of just sound.
Right.
And there are definitely some cheap and free options. There's lots of them. Easy to use things that I've used in the past include Sony Vegas, which initially was primarily an audio editor, but also does video. Reaper does video. I don't find it particularly user-friendly for video editing, other than just very basic cuts, but you can do it. DaVinci Resolve has a free version. That is a very, very good app. It's got a learning curve, though. DaVinci Resolve is a top-tier professional film editing, coloring solution. It does everything. You need a little horsepower to run it. And, it's going to have a learning curve because it's top-tier professional software. Another good option would be KDE. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. KDEN Live. It's part of the KDE is a desktop management project that's part of Linux, and that's their video editor, but it works cross-platform. You don't have to be on Linux. It'll run on Windows. It'll run on Mac. It'll run on Linux, and that's free, 100% free. What else? There's a few others. Just do a search. You can find lots of tools. Video editing is pretty ubiquitous these days. I mean, you could use, iMovie. You could use Windows Movie Maker if that's even still a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and when you're making $8 a week reading YouTube stuff, I mean, you want all the free you can get for a while. You can always upgrade later, folks. That's we all start out different. I mean, I had a crappy Behringer I'll say, well, it really wasn't crap. It was just noisy. It had a little Behringer mixer. And, I finally made up a couple $100 and I was able to get an interface and stuff. So this is the same way. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. You can get a lot of free things to help you. The other thing, when I first did a demo, I thought, how am I going to time that up? And I'm going to tell you the biggest, dumbest thing. I sat down with the scripts and watched, and I was putting markers in there at how many seconds some of the words were said. I went to all that trouble to do that and tried to read it that way, which was really stupid. And then later somebody said, don't do that. You can fix that in the video editing and get it close. And you can get it close enough, because the thing in there, like a car commercial, will have a swoosh and there'll be, 0% financing will pop up. And you want to say 0% financing when that pops up on the screen. But you'll find out, if you'll rehearse that thing enough, they've got it timed out to where if you just read it, you're going to hit in there pretty close, and you can slide that video around just a little bit, make it work. And the thing is, you're only going to pick out 10, 12 seconds of the 30 or 60 for your demo. You're going to record the whole thing, but you're going to come back and pick out the best slice. So, you want to look for that slice that has some sound effects in it. The bacon is sizzling in the background, or, the car goes around the corner and you get the meow, something. So you don't have to worry about everything in there timing up, but you want to get a lot of the key stuff timed up, because it's going to make your demo look and sound really good.
Yeah. And you touched on something that I want to go back to. You said something about if you rehearse it enough. I would caution you not to rehearse it very much, because you will very quickly over rehearse. And then you'll be locked into one particular read that may not be the right read. So I would say learn and understand the words and, sort of the timing. Some things need specific timing, but yeah, you can fix that in post. So long as you're not cramming all your words together. But the really important thing is to understand the feeling and the message that's being conveyed.
Yeah, look for those keywords. There are always keywords, whether it's us or you or America or whatever those are.
Yep.
Look for those. You should know it, and you'll hear it in the original sometimes. And the other thing, and I bet you got the same tip: look away from your script as much as you can. Kind of read ahead and then turn away and come back. I try to, when I'm doing something short enough and it's on the screen, I try to double space it and put it in about a 12 or a 14 font where I don't have to scroll, which is awesome. But, these longer things that we do, we can't do all that. But these short things that you're doing for these demos, if you feel like you're stabbing your material, if you look away from it, it helps. Some of the other crazy things are, if you're doing a high, fast-paced thing and it's kind of fun, laugh out loud for a minute. You may look stupid sitting there laughing at yourself, but it'll open up your face, it'll loosen you up, and you'll go into it with a good mood, reading it. Now I don't do the opposite when something's depressing. I don't, go in here and cut my arm or something.
Go cry in the corner for a half hour.
Yeah. Sit there and cry for 2 minutes and then read that script.
That's when you look at your analytics and realize you're not getting any hits. Then you go cry in the corner.
Yeah.
Then you come back and you make a new demo.
Look at Fiverr and everything. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, there's so many things you can do to help yourself on your demo. And these are nice little free coaching tips that we've already paid for.
Yep. The looking away thing, that's huge, especially if you're doing something conversational, right? Because you won't be reading it. You read the line, get the line in your head, and then look away and give your delivery, and then go on to the next line.
Right.
Read it,
and
look away.
People forget, you can edit out all those spaces.
Yep.
And I had the worst habit when I first started. I thought I had to read the whole thing and it had to be right. No. It doesn't work that way. And if you're not used to editing, I think I may have a YouTube video up about, clicks and pops and how to mark yourself. And some people use a hand clicker. Some people do a mouth noise. If you ever see Bill DeWeese on their live, he does a click with his tongue. I can't do that for some reason. I have to do the pop, but, Yeah, it's not like you got to get it all right the first time every time. That's what editing's all about. You got time for that.
Mhm.
And
On a
go
similar
ahead.
note, here's another tip: slow down.
Oh gosh, yes.
We
Yeah.
all, I am very guilty of it, read way too fast. And the
Yep.
other thing that I've noticed, and it's really interesting, is that while you're doing a read, especially if you've got headphones on, it feels and sounds as if you're going faster than you, or as if you're going slower than you are, right? So when you say you're adding a pause in the middle of a sentence for, dramatic effect or whatever,
Right.
it'll feel longer than it actually is while you're doing it. I've noticed. Or a lot of times I'll be reading through something and I'll have just the slightest hesitation between words, and I make a mental note like that's probably going to sound bad, but I'll just keep going, and I go back and listen to it, and it actually ends up sounding fine.
Right. I agree. Um, so we've kind of thrown some hints in there and some things to get you to a certain point. And now you're going to get ready to break those videos down or those recordings down. And you want to do as much as you can in your DAW and only be mixing that back to the video. I'm not saying you won't ever drop any of your sound effects into the video part to line them up correctly, but sometimes you can get a lot of it in your DAW. And the reason I say you want to do that is you also want just that audio, because you're going to be sending that same demo out just in audio. So you want to get those effects and everything in there too. So there's some tricks to it. And as you get better at your editing, you'll get there.
And that's a good reason to use a DAW that supports video, which Reaper does. I believe Audition does.
Yep.
So you can drop the video in, remove its audio, and then, line your read and effects up with that. Do the whole mix.
Yep.
And that's in your DAW while watching the video.
That's one of the things I like about Filmora. It has a screen recording button. So if I'm in there, start a new project, I can hit the record screen. I can go over to iSpot and literally, put the frame around what I want to record, hit record, bounce it right back over to Filmora. And then all I have to do is hit the audio button and mute it, and it's good. And that works pretty good. I mean, it's handy dandy. And the reason I like it is it's safe. It's inside that software. There are some, and be careful if you go download something for, to grab YouTube content, be sure you get one that's not going to crash your computer, because you hear a lot about that. Another thing is when you're done, get input, whether it's your peers, your friends, people that have an ear for music. Try to get some honest input. I will say this. Be careful with your family, because sometimes they'll be critical. They don't like what you're doing. They think you're stupid for sitting in a room and recording things. You're never going to get work doing that. You're crazy. And then you'll have the
other end of the spectrum.
There you go.
Way too supportive, and it could sound terrible, but they'll be like, "Oh, that is the best thing ever. You're so good."
Yeah.
You're going to make $1 million.
My father-in-law has been awesome through this. He and I'm, I'll mock people and I'll say stuff. And there are people that are at the church we go to. I'll talk like them, especially there's a lady there. And he just cracks up, and he always tells me, he says, one day that mimicking you do is going to make you some money. He used to tell me that all the time. And then now that I'm doing this, he gets a big kick out of it. He's probably my biggest supporter. I think it's kind of neat. But also remember this, when you come out, here comes your demo and you're trying to get work. And this is, not really demo related. Keep in mind, your voice is not going to suit everybody. That's why we're all in this. Every agent, every client, every customer wants something different. Mm-hmm. They may love what Will's doing. And when I go in there and they say, there's that darn Southern accent, I hate that. And then somebody else is going, I love that little warm Southern accent. And they hire you. It is what it is. Be prepared for a bunch of rejection, because that's what this business is about. It's a very low acceptance rate. You got to have a tough hide. You got to be prepared for that. So you'll get all pumped up. I've got a demo and everybody loves it, but how come I'm not getting any work? And it takes time. All these guys coaching and teaching will tell you this is not for 90% of the people. We're seeing one guy right now. He's rocking it pretty darn good to be new, but it's usually not for, there's not an overnight success. And and there's not many people that are quote unquote naturals, but there are some. So don't get me wrong, there's that 10%, but be prepared for a climb. This is a climb, and it takes a while.
Yep. You got to grind it out. You're going to have a lot of really bad days. And you're going to have a handful of really, really good days.
Yep. So I can't even really remember. We are going to maybe hang with demos another time. I don't know if it'll be next time or not. We got a lot of things to talk about, and we're actually got a couple of hot subjects we may jump on, so who knows. But for today,
there's lots more to cover.
But for today, let's call it a show, and we'll be back with you guys again soon. So long from Taterville.
See ya.
The Voiceover Ladder is available on Spotify, Apple, and Google. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss an episode, because we may drop one at any moment. Do we know what we're doing? Not really. But we are learning and making progress, one rung at a time, as we all climb the VO ladder.